Okay, we are back with part 2 of the Belmont Stakes discussion. We were just finishing up Tappet, Trice, and I do believe that he has the ability to absolutely win this race, and I did play him on my tickets. And at the end of this, I will show you guys what I ended up doing. Next horse on the docket we'll talk about. Let me just throw in Tappet Shoes in there real quick. He's also one of those Tappet horses, one of the big, beautiful grays, just like Tappet Trice is. There's actually 4 gray horses in this race, which is very strange, okay? Never have I seen so many grays. But this Tappet Shoes horse, he's really in there just kind of like as a speeder, probably a rabbit to help along one of the other horses that Brad Cox has in this race. So that's going to be interesting. And he will probably put a little pressure on another speeder in this race that we're going to get to. But other than him, he's really not a grade 1 stakes horse. He's only really won 1 race, and I don't think he's got the stamina, so there's no way he's crossing the finish line and winning this. He's just kind of in there to be kind of filler, and that's fine. Maybe at best he could pull 5th, but I'm not sure. There's 2 other horses that are more qualified. The next horse we'll go into also, because I didn't use Tappet Shoes, and I didn't use this horse either. His name is El Miracolo, and I believe that means like the miracle or something. Anyway, he's Italian, and he's quite fast, but no stamina. Once again, no stamina, and I don't even know if he's as fast as Tappet Shoes. I'm not even sure, but He did win his last race wire to wire, so it's like I think his trainer just wants to throw him in here and and really have a gamble here and see what happens. But I feel like he will apply pressure like Tappet Shoes will to the next horse that I'm about to talk to you about. One second. Okay, so the next horse, and I know some people will bet on this horse, but this is our Preakness winner. This is National Treasure, trained by Bob Baffert. I'm not putting any money into this horse. I'm actually betting entirely against him, which is exact opposite of what I did for the Preakness, because this is our Preakness winner, our Bob Baffert trained Preakness winner. I'm not a fan of that trainer. He has a lot of very juiced up beast horses, because that's just kind of like the way he does things, and I don't really approve of it. And if one of their horses kind of like has an issue, like there's just no chance, like he's getting put down. So don't really like that. Anyway, so that horse is going to be a speeder, but he never had to run as fast as he's going to have to when he was in the Preakness. The Preakness, he didn't really have very many challengers. I mean, yeah, the Derby winner, Mage, but Mage was tired. And I just think that after putting such an effort in at the Derby, and then being asked to come back 2 weeks later and race at the Preakness, even though it was a shorter race, the horse just was a little tired. And it just, I don't know, maybe he just wasn't feeling like racing that day. But he came in 3rd. So National Treasure was nearly beaten by a horse named Blazing Sevens. Literally beat him, I think, by a neck. And it was a slower pace than usual. So I don't believe that this is a horse that can win the Preakness by any means, unless he is super juiced up. And God forbid, I hope that doesn't happen, because there's just not the way we want to see things done with these horses. Because that just, opens the gate for accidents and tragedies and things. And so this horse at best will probably run at absolute best 3rd, but I'm thinking 4th, which is why I left him off my tickets, because I really didn't do any pick 4s or anything like that. I didn't do a superfecta. The next horse I'll talk about is also a horse that I didn't use. Redwalt won. I know he's a deep closer and everything, and he placed 4th in the Preakness. But once again, alongside of the other ones that I've just mentioned, the Tappet Shoes, the National Treasure, the El Miracola, I just don't think they have the stamina to be able to make it that mile against other horses that are bred and built and trained that way. So I just don't see that happening with this horse either, unless he has his luckiest day ever, and the distance is what he needed to make up that time for him to do that deep close. Because one thing, like Tappet Trice, his thing is like when he has the space in a longer race, that horse just keeps going and going and going, and he just gets into his stride, and that's how he wins. And the other horses are like not having the gas. So basically these horses that I'm not playing, they're not going to have the gas to clear the race and beat anybody. Neither, I don't believe, Red Route 1 will either. But if any of them out of the ones that I'm not using, Red Route 1 might be the only one. And he might get lucky and, you know, pull a fifth or something and just get on the board like he did at the Preakness. The next horse I want to talk about, because we've already talked about Tappet Trice, a likely horse to win, and we've also talked about Forte, a likely horse to win. Here's another likely horse to win, and also another kind of favorite. Angel of Empire. I like to call him Angel E. He's a great horse. He looks very good on paper. He's done everything he needs to do, and he's very fast. Has he been asked to run a 1.5 miles? Not yet. We're about to find out. Can he do it? We'll know. He is a horse that's out of Pennsylvania, and he was third, of course, in the Derby. If anybody's going to give Forte and Tappet a run for their money, it will for sure be him, and he certainly could end up being the horse to win this, actually, because of two things. He doesn't seem to have issues starting, doesn't seem to have issues being in a crowd. He can come from the back, and then he'll get that stride going and move up on the stretch and pass horses up, because that's exactly what he did at the Derby. But one thing that separates him from Tappet, and what makes me just slightly nervous with Tappet, but not too much, but there is a question mark here, is Tappet is still coming out of the 2-hole. And remember how I told you he's not a horse that likes to be anywhere near the fence. He's not a rail horse. He doesn't want to run in traffic. He doesn't want to get dirt kicked in his face. He needs space, and he doesn't really want to have to maneuver a whole bunch. Well, he's going to have to do this in this race, because even though it is a smaller field of 9 versus the Derby, which was 18, and he came out of the 5th hole, he's still going to have to maneuver away from that rail. So if he breaks bad and has trouble doing that, that could push him to 2nd and 3rd. I don't think worse than that, but that's why I'm thinking if something like that was to happen and him and Forte are not the ones to win this, I believe it's going to be Angel of Envy. The next horse I want to talk about is a horse I really like, and he's my long shot. And I actually had him as a long shot too for the Derby. It was like a separate ticket. I was just having an extra bet. And that's Hit Show. And Hit Show, I think, did better than everyone seems to think that he's done in a lot of his races. He's given some pretty good effort, and he gave a great effort at the Derby. A lot of people are like, well, he kind of flatlined when he had an opening at the Derby to win the race. And you're right, he did flatline. But you also have to understand everything that horse had to overcome in that deep field to get in that position that he had. So many other horses probably should have had that position that he had, including even Tappet. But he just, overcame a lot of things and slipped right in there for a 5th place win. That horse was coming off the rail. He was number 1. So he had to maneuver through all of that traffic, being smushed up against the rail and cutting himself over and finding opening spaces. We don't know how much he was held back, where he really couldn't get his full stride going, and all the maneuvering that he had to do. So we really don't know, what he could have done if he had a really clean, open, race, open run path. And not only that, but this horse is very durable, unlike Tappet, who looks like his twin, because they both are big, beautiful grays. And he too has some Tappet in him, this Hit Show horse. But anyway, he's very durable. Like, he will be he's very maneuverable. He will run off the rail. He will run in the open. He will run in a deep field. He will run in a small field. He will run with horses in front of him and dirt throwing in his face. Very great thing for a racehorse to be that maneuverable. So I think great things can come of this horse still. I don't know if he's had his best race yet. Tonight could be it. He is what I am calling my wild card. And I am going to play him because something amazing could happen with him. But I don't dare say that this horse will place lower than 5th. But could he get as high as a lucky first place win? It is possible. Is it more likely that those other ones I've talked about, Forte, Tappet, and Angel? Yes. Now the last horse I want to talk about, and this will wrap things up, is a horse named Archangelo. Archangelo is trained by a woman. Really exciting. Tappet is owned by a woman, but this horse is trained by a woman. This horse is another wild card. I mean, wild as you can come card. Because he is just starting to progress. He is starting to get better in his career now as a 3-year-old. And he too is a big gray. He is the only horse out of these 9 that literally ran on the very track that they're going to be racing on and won on it, because he won the Peter Pan, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So I guess the only thing we have to worry about is this horse ready for this next race? Has he rested enough? Is he going to be good to go? And can he make 1.5 miles on that deep sand track? Which is why I think they call it Big Sandy. He has proven to have won on, I think he went 1 1/8 miles at Peter Pan, and he won it. As a matter of fact, he's won his last 2 races, but this particular one was ran on this track. So he's the only horse that has tested that track out. So it's a big wow factor, and he's trained well, and he's looking good, and he's also bred with that Tappet's bloodline. There's some other stuff in there too that breeds him to have some stamina. His speed, I believe, is somewhere around the marker, about the same as like what you would see in, I think it's like a 99, somewhere around in there. There's going to be a couple horses in the field that are going to be running at that same those same speeds. Maybe he'll run faster this time because he'll be pushed to run faster. I don't know, but the question is, he's never raced against horses of this caliber, not this many, or any of these particular horses, and he's not raced in any of the big Triple Crown legs except for this one. So it's a question mark. But to make a long story short, I'll tell you why I bet on him anyway, because it's a long shot possibility, which is why I put him on one of my long shot trifectas. You can see all my tickets right here because I have 3 trifectas and I have 5 total exactas. Now it's because a couple of the exactas weren't for me. I did them for a friend. One of my trifectas here actually has, I think it's this one, Archangelo on there. And I boxed this in, which means in any order, him, Tappet, and Hit Show can be first, second, and third. The major ticket that I put a little bit more money on is this one, and this is the one that I am hoping is the actual winner, because it has the top most 3 qualified horses all boxed in, and that's Tappet, Forte, and Angel of Empire.